Hello friends, we are back with the current affairs topics. We have been running this particular thing for a couple of days because of the situation that is happening around the world and how it can affect our answer writing. Even for the general level of understanding, we are making people aware about what are the current topics and how it can be utilized in answer building plus getting the knowledge levels. So first topic will be regarding home voting that has been allowed for Lok Sabha, condition of humanitarian crisis in Gaza, coal and lignite production at historical levels, Indian youth's lifestyle troubles, and Hyperloop technology for transport. These topics are related to GS 1, 2, 3 regarding economy, polity, and our society. First topic is regarding the home-based voting in Lok Sabha elections. First of all, we need to understand what is home voting. Home voting is process where by sitting at home, certain category of the people can be allowed to vote. So this facilitation is done to make election process more inclusive. As you know, India percentage of voting is close to 75%. Still 25% of people either do not vote or are not voting because of certain circumstances. Maybe they are migrants or they are lethargic enough and they treat the election day as a holiday, or they are people actually who want to avail the home facility because of their age related compulsions. Election Commission in that regard is now trying to make it all inclusive. Close to 88 lakh people who are with person with disabilities and close to 85 lakh people greater than 85 years of age and media persons are now being allowed an option to vote through home voting. So what is this home voting and who are being allowed? I have told you. Second thing is how you can vote. What is the process? So there is a form that is 12D. It has to be downloaded from Election Commission of India's website. Plus also it can be taken from district representation offices of that parliamentary constituency. So you need to fill up that particular form if you are an eligible voter. Because of the after once you fill it, and after you can deposit it to the related election offices in the district. So this can be done only for 5 days window, that is once the poll day is scheduled and announced. So once the poll day schedule is notification is out, within 5 days you need to submit the form 12D and then after you can submit it. Once the date and time of when who will facilitate the home voting and who will visit, that message will be sent to your number and then the team will be visiting you. One will be video photographer and one will be a security personnel and they will be assisting you to cast your vote and you can cast your vote. So this is the home voting process. Even Election Commission is trying to make it more inclusive by the way that those who do not want to avail the home based polling, the polling stations are being made more voluntary and more inclusive. Certain facilities like first aid, certain facilities like drinking water, toilets, etc., wheelchair, ramps, etc., are being built so that the polling stations can be made people friendly. Even Election Commission is also trying to bring out a mechanism where certain people who are migrants and residents into other territories, they can also vote from their host territories. How that will be happening, they are trying to, Election Commission is working on an election through election voting machine this particular way. So these are the things. Now why the elections had to be made inclusive? So you need to understand that more people exercise their franchisee, it will make election process more inclusive and will make people participate in choosing their representative more. Because if 25% of the population is still out and not voting, then it means that only 3/4 of our people are voting and it is not a true representation nature of our democracy. So to make it more representative, the Election Commission of India has to devise new ways so that these kind of votings can happen and people can cast their votes with the convenience. Second, in a democracy, this festival of election voting, etc., comes once in a 5 years or earlier. So once in a 5 year exercise has to be done with more celebration and energy. So this is how the Election Commission is trying to make it more inclusive. Second topic we are moving, and that is the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. As you know, Gaza and Israel are right now in a state of constant strife. You know that October 7, the attack that came into Israeli territory, the militants were based in Gaza. This was a barbarian act actually that was conducted by the people based in Gaza. And the infrastructure in Gaza is very, very hard also, because the people who are militants or having close links with militants are residing under the tunnels. These tunnels are under the infrastructure which is either hospitals or education or high dense areas, and there the residents or innocent civilians live. So these militants take guard under these kind of, the tunnels are dug up under these kind of high-rise buildings or civilian areas or hospitals or educational institutions. Israel in its bombardment is trying to, take the battle to eliminate these kind of terrorists who are living under hideouts. It is a very tough task, and in that there are casualties also, because of if you bombard a particular area to destroy the tunnel, then the people living above that particular tunnel, whether knowingly or unknowingly, they also get killed. Because of that, close to several thousands of people have died, and these are innocent people. So there are humanitarian costs attached with this particular strife also. In general, whenever you asked actually that the conflicts across the globe are increasing the humanitarian concerns of people, you can write like this. Yet yes, the humanitarian concerns rise because number one, there is a food crisis, there is a medicine crisis or diseases happen, sanitation is an issue, migratory related challenges, people lose their jobs and they become unemployed, and once they become unemployed, it becomes very hard to live the livelihood. Even the infrastructure, that is like roads, etc., buildings, electricity poles, all get uprooted, and it also affects the quality of life of people. So this is how the humanitarian crisis actually unfolds once a conflict happens. So when we talk about Gaza's conflict, then it is also playing the same way in this particular territory. So Gaza crisis is just like as one example where the world should take action, and world should take into consideration, and but also at the same time, because Israel also have the same way to defend its own territory, so it is also taking the action in that particular aspect. So Gaza humanitarian crisis is now unfolding. According to World Health Organization, despite growing international calls for ceasefire, the government of Prime Minister Netanyahu vows that it will continue to military operation until the Hamas is dismantled. And the World Health Organization says that people are now lacking medicinal supplies. People are actually, getting all those diseases, and the humanitarian crisis now unfolding there in Gaza. Now we come to what is the issue. So in this one, when we talk about war that has started, it has killed close to 32,000 Palestinians, a vast majority of them being women and children. Gaza already lacks hospitals, medicinal professionals, medicine, clean water, and other healthcare facilities. World Health Organization says that patients trying to recover from life-saving surgeries and loss of limbs, or sick with cancer or diabetes, mothers who have just given birth, all are suffering from hunger and the diseases that stalk with it. Most of the internally displaced people, roughly 2 million, are also living in the makeshift camps in the south. Diarrhea, infections are also rampant, because even when people are living in camps, they share toilets and showers by hundreds of people. These are shared. So that's why it also unfolds its own set of catastrophe. The Gaza also does not have enough food to feed its population. That's why malnutrition is also raising its head. The IPC report states that Gaza is now experiencing the most severe hunger crisis anywhere in the world. If before October 7, 0.8% of children under 5 were acutely malnourished, that figure has went up to 16.5% in February. So close to 16-17% people are now experiencing malnutrition. And when you experience malnutrition, then their ability to fight disease also actually goes down, and you then become prone to the diseases. So disease burden can increase. The North experts usually look at 3 criteria to determine a famine: extreme lack of access to food, high levels of acute malnutrition, and child deaths. So this is how the famine is also now is a major concern in the Gazan territory. So this is the cost of a war. Whenever we are writing about a war or conflict, so when a person says that this is not an era of war, so in the time of a greater humanitarian progress, where people's lives are now being improved, human development indicators are now being improved, improved, the conflicts or constant strifes or battles are not the answer, because they only increase the people's miseries. And I told you that these miseries can be anything regarding these kind of things, can be migration, can be unemployment, can be disease, can be regarding sanitation, can be regarding medicines, can be regarding food and other famine issues. So this is how this particular problem is happening in Gaza as of now. We now talk about the third thing, and that is India achieving historical 1 billion ton coal and lignite production. So how this news is important? Number one, for our energy security purpose. You know that India's energy mix still has coal in its principal as its principal energy producer. Although it is trying to improve the renewable energy mix, but still because of inherent disadvantages with the renewable energy regarding the reliability, etc., coal and other sources like hydropower are a major source of electricity. So in the times of crisis, or in the times of even whenever there are any supply chain constraint, etc., the domestic production of coal can help India to achieve electricity and energy security. You must have seen that in the COVID period, when there was a problem of the supply chain disruption regarding coal, and coal mines were also not being, the coal was not being extracted from the mines, and the import from Australia also got affected. That time India was having very less amount of coal, and the coal actually was like 3 to 4 days of replenishment. So it affected a lot of psychological morale also, plus lot of industrial and other home based electricity were being cut. Once you cut the electricity supply to industries, it affects the manufacturing and production level in that economy. Once the production level goes down, then the unemployment situation also start rising. When the unemployment starts rising, even the GDP of your country, the potential GDP, actually the country cannot achieve the potential GDP levels, and the country's efforts to fight with poverty or any kind of other government expenditures can't be made for the social infrastructure purpose. That's why India desires to have a energy security, because it can facilitate the continuous energy supply to homes plus industrial units. Manufacturing that India wants actually start in the country, Make in India program and other manufacturing PLI schemes will only improve and will get success when we give a continuous power supply. Not only it is reliable, but it is also at a cheaper rates. That's why India hitting the 1 billion ton coal and lignite production mark is a very big news. Because what it can do is, number one, India as of now is the world's second largest producer across the globe after China. It's a historical high. So coal minister of the union says that achievement of 1 billion tons in coal and lignite will ensure that lights are on in people's homes as the coal sector continues to power up the economy. So for the economy's well-being, it is necessary. For the employment and manufacturing, it is necessary. For energy security, it is necessary. India currently boasts of substantial coal stockpile with around 96 metric ton available with coal companies. The coal stocks as on March 21 at thermal plants stood at 49.2 metric ton, which is sufficient for 21 days. At the time of corona or near about corona period, that actually in some state reduced to close to only 3-4 days. So 3-4 days means power plants were then gasping for a supply, but now because of the 21 days of sufficient stocks, the coal power plants also can not only produce the coal at a time of their choosing, but also they can continue generating power supplies because they will be having a reliable supply of the raw material called coal. So the minister said that it has ample preparation to supply coal to power plants even during the peak summer season. And we also know that there is a summer season coming across the North India, and how big the summer season are, and how sun is actually troubling, so that can also fill up this particular gap. So India's energy security can be made through, but India's 1 billion ton of coal and lignite production will not be easy. Why? Number one, because of the environmental concerns. Coal is a dirty fuel, and you know it all, not only in mining but also the extraction plus transportation plus even burning of coal all produces the PM particulate matters. These particulate matters can be very bad to make India's cities more polluting. As you know, India has a dubious distinction of being one of the most polluted countries across the globe. So environmental concerns can rise. Number two, even environmental concerns can also play a big role in the sense that the production level, those happen can also, because of the coal production, it can be a significant challenge. move on to the fourth topic, and that is regarding the bad cholesterol level. Those are rising among the youth. So what is the bad cholesterol and how it is a threat to the people? Because as we know, non-lifestyle or non-communicable diseases are now raging ahead. Non-communicable diseases regarding like health, heart disease or cancer or chronic respiratory diseases or diabetes are now becoming a leading cause of death worldwide, and they represent an emerging global health threat. So close to 41 million people are killed every year by non-communicable diseases. That is equivalent to 7 out of 10 deaths. So whenever you are writing an answer for the non-communicable diseases, you can mention this particular figure also, that close to 41 million people across the globe are killed by non-communicable diseases each year, and that is close to 7 upon 10. Means if 10 people are died, then 7 out of them are being by the non-communicable diseases. So what are the reasons? Number one, changing social, economic, structural factors, that people are moving to cities, and spread of the unhealthy lifestyles. Unhealthy lifestyle is also becoming one of the reasons behind the NCD crisis. NCD means non-communicable disease burden crisis. It even kills 15 million people prematurely before the age of less than 70 years. These people, because of have the high burden of NCDs among working people, leads to high healthcare costs, limited ability to work, and financial insecurity as well. So this is how the NCDs are affecting. And when we talk about the bad cholesterol level among the youth that is rising, is because of the situation regarding the healthcare issues. So whenever we talk about it, cholesterol buildup could have begun at a younger age, in teens even, but the patients have not felt it any anomaly until they cross their 20s. So what is happening is this particular issue. What is cholesterol? Cholesterol is a waxy substance that is made by liver and is necessary for producing hormones, vitamin D, and bile states. Cholesterol is divided in two. Number one, high density lipoprotein and low density lipoprotein. High density lipoprotein, that is HDL, is known as good cholesterol, while the low density lipoprotein, that is LDL, it is actually regarding as a bad cholesterol. So LDL cholesterol should be less than 100 mg per dl, while the LDL reading of 130 to 159 mg per dl is categorized as borderline high, 160 to 189 is high, and a reading of 190 mg per dl is above considered as very high. So what causes cholesterol spike in the young? This is linked to, as I told you, lifestyle and dietary choices, beginning with the packet of chips in your childhood. The prevalence of processed and fast food, high in saturated fats and trans fats also has skyrocketed in recent decades. Unhealthy dietary habits combined with the sedentary lifestyle and lack of physical activity are creating a perfect storm for the cholesterol buildup in our body. And this is actually creating a serious trouble, not only increasing heart diseases but other problems like diabetes also. So non-communicable disease burden is increasing in across the globe and in India, and it's a major health crisis. So this is how the problem is. Now, why this news is also important? Because of number one, if India's demographic dividend has to be taken advantage of, then we need to take care of the health concerns of the people. The non-communicable disease burden has to somehow address, because these are related to the life cycle and lifestyle that is met. So this way we can always try to reduce the burden, but with the sedentary lifestyle this cannot be achieved. So people need to, number one, start to have an active lifestyle, plus the organization should also reward people or employees who work and being in healthy state more. Now the next topic is regarding the Hyperloop technology. Hyperloop is basically a technology which is now in the news because of the fast transportation. Hyperloop technology is also Hyperloop technology is also one of the way which can propose high speed for both passengers and freight corridors. The concept was documented by Elon Musk in 2013, where the Hyperloop was described as a transportation system using capsules supported by an air-bearing surface. So there is an air-bearing surface within a low-pressure tube. So this is a low-pressure tube. Hyperloop system have three essential elements. Number one, tubes. Second, they have pods, and number third, terminals. So pods in which actually those things which need to be transported can be housed. The tube is very large sealed low pressure system. The pod is kind of couch which is at a atmospheric pressure that experience low air resistance or friction inside the tube. It uses magnetic propulsion. The terminal handles pod arrivals, and there are terminals also where the pods will arrive and departure will happen. So this is how the Hyperloop, that is, or what is the technology. So Hyperloop was suggested by Elon Musk first. So Hyperloop concept has been promoted by these companies to promote faster transportation. They say that it is one of the energy efficient and sustainability at the higher speeds. They said that compared to the bullet trains, which are energy sensitive and energy intensive, Hyperloop as comparison to that is providing a facility which is an answer to that kind of troubles. Even present day age, we have the aircraft system or the air travel, but air travel also comes with lot of carbon dioxide emissions, and it has its own limitations that between cities it can make facilitation, but within cities also it cannot. One of the another thing is all the cities do not house the airport system, so Hyperloop can be an answer to that also. Hyperloop not only is a lower thing in CO2 emissions, but is also energy efficient. Because of that, the consumption of energy will be lower, the prices of fares etc are supposed to be even lower. So they are selling the Hyperloop technology being a energy efficient and sustainability. So I told you what is the technology, how can be either beneficial for countries, and you know also that the increased mobility levels are also one of the best way to achieve faster mobility. So people from one part of the territory can move to the another part of the territory without hassles and with the same sort of energy level, so they can work more, their productivity level also increases. When there is a faster connection among cities, the supply chains also become faster because of the faster travel of the goods. Those goods actually which are having a less shelf life can be then also transported faster and can then meet their consumers, and the consumers also can get the product at a relatively lesser cost. For more such videos, you can like the button and subscribe the channel. Thank you.